People think national parks are quiet, safe, pure. They imagine wide skies, quiet forests, clean air, a place where nothing bad follows you. But parks don't close at night because they're peaceful. They close because when something goes wrong out there, help doesn't come quickly. Sometimes it doesn't come at all. Tonight, you're going to hear 3 stories, not from tourists, not from thrill seekers, but from the people whose job it was to go looking when everyone else was told to stay back. Search and rescue, maintenance, wildlife control. These stories aren't about what shouldn't exist. They're about what happens when ordinary people realize the land doesn't recognize rules, uniforms, or mercy. Let's begin with the first call that still wakes a ranger up at night. Welcome to Night Tora Zone, where I bring you the most thrilling and true horror stories from around the world. If you love horror, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a terrifying moment. And if you've ever experienced something truly chilling yourself, share it in the comments. Or, if you prefer, send your story to the email in the description. Here, every story has a place.
Came in just before sunrise. Missing hiker, male, 34, experienced. There was no panic in the dispatcher's voice. That was normal. People get lost all the time. What wasn't normal was that the hiker's phone kept answering calls, but no one was speaking. The ranger assigned to lead the search was named Evan Cole. 10 years on the job, 200 recoveries, living and dead, 47 body extractions. He said later the forest felt wrong that morning, too still, like the land was listening. The missing man's trail ended near a shallow ravine. No signs of struggle, no broken brush, no blood, just footprints that stopped, not turned around, not dragged, stopped. They brought in dogs, helicopter support, split teams. By mid-afternoon, the tone of the radio chatter changed. Someone on the southern ridge heard yelling, a man's voice, weak, hoarse, calling for help. That should have been relief. Instead, Evan felt his stomach drop because the voice didn't say help. It said, "Evan, I'm cold." No one had told the missing hiker Evan's name. The team froze. Protocol says you don't follow voices unless you can see the source. Protocol exists because panic kills. But when the voice came again, closer this time, it was crying. They followed. Every step downhill, the forest grew denser. Their radios started cutting out. The air smelled wet, metallic, like blood or wet iron. The voice kept talking. It knew details, how long Evan had worked the job, the dog he lost last winter, the exact words his wife said when he left that morning. When they reached the ravine floor, the voice stopped. Dead silence. They found the hiker's phone lying face up on a rock, battery full, no damage. 20 feet above them, carved into the dirt wall, were deep handholds, too deep, too wide. The dogs refused to go any further. That night, Evan dreamed he was still in the ravine, except this time, the voice was behind him, breathing. The hiker was never found. 2 weeks later, Evan quit. He still sleeps with a radio on his nightstand, because sometimes, just before dawn, it crackles and something whispers his name. Search trains are trained to leave emotion behind. Maintenance crews don't get that luxury. They work alone in places no one's looked at in years, which is how the second story begins, with a job that should have taken 30 minutes.
Is hail, fix trails for a living, signs, railings, fire damage. He liked winter shifts, no tourists, no questions. That morning, he was sent to inspect a service road, buried after a late storm. Simple check, in and out. About a mile in, he noticed something strange. The snow was untouched. No animal tracks, no wind-swept ridges, no drift lines, just smooth white, broken by concrete. A staircase, no building, no signage, just steps rising out of the ground, swallowed by trees. Marcus knew the rule. You don't approach structures that aren't on the map, but this wasn't old. The concrete was clean, uncracked. Someone had built it recently. He stepped closer. The air changed immediately. Pressure in his ears, a low hum he felt more than heard. Halfway up the stairs, the forest went silent. At the top, there was nothing. No platform, no door, just one final step and a sudden drop. Marcus fell, only a few feet, but when he stood up, the forest was wrong. The trees leaned inward, snow drifted upward like gravity had flipped, and far behind him, something heavy was climbing the stairs. Slow, deliberate, each step making the concrete groan. Marcus ran. He didn't look back until he reached his truck. The staircase was gone. Later, supervisors told him no such structure existed. His report was quietly archived and never mentioned again. 3 months later, another worker vanished in the same sector. His last radio transmission was calm, too calm. He said, "I found the steps. They're taller than I remember." Some parks erase people quickly. Others leave something behind. Which brings us to the final story, the one no one likes to talk about. Life wardens learn patterns, tracks, feeding routes, aggression patterns. Lena Ortiz trusted patterns until a black bear refused to cross a clearing. The bear was starving, underweight, desperate, but it stood at the tree line, swaying, whining softly, refusing to enter. That clearing held the remains of a missing climber, at least what was left. The body wasn't mauled, wasn't scattered, it was arranged, clothes folded, boots side by side, and the face was gone, not torn, removed. Above the scene, carved into the granite, were shallow handprints, dozens of them, all facing upward. Search teams shut the area down. No press, no explanation. That night, Lena stayed behind to monitor wildlife movement. At 2:17 a.m., motion sensors triggered. Something tall moved through the clearing, too thin, too smooth. It stopped where the body had been and lifted its head. The thermal camera showed no facial features, just a blank shape. Lena watched it turn slowly toward the tree line, toward her. She didn't run, she couldn't. The thing stood there for nearly a minute, then stepped back into the dark. The bears returned 2 days later. They avoided the spot completely. Lena transferred out of the park within a month. She says Yosemite is beautiful, peaceful, but she will never hike alone again, because whatever took that climber, it wasn't hungry, it was curious. These 3 stories remind us some places don't just hold danger, they remember. If tonight's tales gave you chills, don't forget to subscribe to Night Tora Zone. Share your thoughts in the comments, or if something like this happened to you, send it to the email in the description. Step carefully, because in the dark, the forest, the mountains, the snow, they may still be watching.